It has been a busy couple of weeks here, even though most people are in holiday mode. There's a lot happening around the world. I'm really glad to welcome you back, Mike Arnold, to talk about the work you're doing in Africa. Obviously, big news as the Trump administration has stepped in. I'll just let you wind you up and let you go and talk about what's happening. This is massive news on the world front.
Fantastic. Thank you. It's good to be here. So yeah, on Christmas Day, in fact, we had just finished lunch and we're going in to unwrap presents and got the news that they're 7 hours ahead of us. Trump had dropped bombs in Nigeria, not just Nigeria, the state of Sokoto, which is very symbolic and strategic. We could talk about that. But it was a good Christmas present for me. And then I've got a pretty good finger on the pulse over there these days, and got flooded with Nigerians saying it's the best Christmas present ever. Thank you, Donald Trump. This is it. So it's awesome. And just to back up a little bit for people that aren't aware of the situation, first of all, Nigeria is the sixth largest nation on earth. Very important place. It's in West Africa. It's a large geographic nation as well. There are about 230 million people, about split evenly Christians and Muslims. It's the largest black country on earth. It is one of the top 5 members of OPEC, oil producing and exporting countries. It's got about $1 trillion in mineral wealth. It's got about almost a quarter of the population of the entire continent of Africa. It's got the third largest movie industry in the world after Hollywood, and Bollywood is Nollywood. Very influential in music and pop culture these days. And it's just a growing place that has so much potential. The average age is 19. 230 million people. The average age is 19. A lot of energy, a lot of potential, but they are in a stranglehold. There are so many bloody hands in that cookie jar, and have been. The nation was established to fail by the British. It was 2 separate cultures, the Sharia law in the north and the modern Christian south, and they just in the 1960s stuck them together and said good luck. And they did it so it would fail, and so to continue to never rise, so they could keep taking the oil. I mean, that's what the British did. It's what they do. That's just, there's no argument there. You've got now has become the epicenter, according to our own government, the epicenter of global terrorism in northern Nigeria. That region, it's now home to ISIS and Al Qaeda. Since we made them uncomfortable in the Middle East, they've set up shop down there, and they have designs to hijack the entire nation and use it as a launch pad to launch jihad around the world. I mean, it's an extremely important place. The foundation of modern Nigeria dates back to the 1800s. There's a caliphate established by jihad. 1804 killed 250,000 people. At their peak, they had over anywhere from 1 to 2 million slaves. It's a slavery center. It's radical Sharia law. That's the foundation of modern Nigeria, is the Northern Caliphate, the Sokoto Caliphate, the Sultan of Sokoto. And modern Nigeria is set up with the illusion of secularism. They have supposedly a secular constitution, but it mentions Islam and the Quran like 20 some odd times. It doesn't mention Christianity at all. Their presidential compound was built with 2 mosques and no chapel. But it's got this illusion of secularity, but it's controlled by the radical Muslims. The whole constitution is written that way. So that's the foundation here. Every time throughout history the Christian South has gotten any traction or spoken up for themselves, I see it like cat's paws. It's nice and soft so long as you submit, but as soon as the Christians start to get up, and the claws come out and the jihad starts again. It's been like that through their history. And this most recent genocide, this jihad, started when there was a Christian president, and it was a fluke that he got there. He was sort of accidental. He was the token Christian vice president, and then the president died, and so he got into office, and that's when this whole modern jihad, the latest iteration, started, and it was unleashed, and it became globalized, and it's just remained unabated. So there have been, since that time, since about 2009, well over 100,000 Christians killed. That's not just Christians being killed. The peaceful Muslims are also being killed that stand in their way, but it's all being done in the name of Allahu Akbar. So, I mean, it's definitely a religious purge. And there's not only that, but there's millions of displaced. Anywhere the official numbers say 4 to 5 million, but I believe with a lot of evidence and good reason that it's closer to 10 to 12 million. Otherwise peaceful, prosperous, good people that have been totally horrifically forced from their homelands and live in these hellish conditions without any government recognition or help. I mean, that itself is a vast humanitarian crisis. That's very important too, because that's where the radicals come from, is from the disaffected and the displaced. So this is the what's been simmering there for over a decade, and there have been a lot of folks out there trying to raise attention. I've been one of them. I built schools for the displaced children, and that's the ministry work we do, but also been trying to again raise awareness, get this on the world's attention, and thank God in October it finally burst into the public perception. You had Bill Maher and Ted Cruz starting to talk about it. And then God used me in a crazy way. I was invited over there to be the Jane Fonda of Nigeria, to go over there and be the stooge. And they offered me, I mean, they dangled money in front of me and threats. I mean, very, very veiled, but obvious. And expected me to stand up at this international press conference and declare there's no genocide. And I knew there was a chance they would kill me. I was willing to take the risk. I stood up in that press conference and I flipped the script and I told the truth that there's a genocide. Was able to get out of the country real quick. And God used that to flip the global narrative. In 72 hours, it had over 3 billion global impressions, and it flipped the narrative from 80% denial to 70% affirmation genocide globally, virtually overnight. And folks that are observers at the highest level said that narrative flip and the global awareness that happened with that is what prompted Donald Trump to get involved. And it was back a little over a month ago, month and a half, that he came out and he said, Nigeria better stop this genocide, stop killing Christians, or we're going to come guns a-blazing, was his quote. And that, big deal. And a lot of the rats have started scurrying, and you're seeing a lot of this stuff bubble up to the surface. The Nigerian government has spent more effort and time and money trying to lie and hide the truth than they have trying to stop the reality of the killing, and that's become very obvious. And so all this time, the past month and a half, the Nigerians are saying, hurry up, Trump. And they've almost given up hope. Like, he's not really coming. He's just another white guy that makes promises. And then Christmas Day, he dropped some bombs in Sokoto, which is very interesting because it's not the front line. There's a south and the middle belt where it's mixed. And that's where most of the killings take place. The massacres, the mass graves are in that middle belt. The north is behind enemy lines. Also, the groups that are on the front line doing the killing are the Fulani ethnic militia. It's a tribe, and that has been radicalized for centuries. And those are lately the highest body count. He didn't bomb them. What he did was went behind the scenes and struck right at the belly of the beast. By dropping this in the Sultan of Sokoto's backyard, that's a huge statement. Also, and there's still conflicting exactly which groups were there. He had a couple of different targets. He says ISIS is a catch-all, but there's more. And the narrative war, he bombed an open field, and no, the reports are coming out now. He wiped out a whole mess of them. I mean, probably between 750 and 1,000 of the highest level, including some who were on the top 3 on the hit list.
So
the leaders that were planning a lot of stuff, and they were gathered for planning, and he took them out. I mean, just gone. So that's
so you think he's struck at the head of the snake? Like, this was a really effective way to handle it, or should he have gone after more of the violence on the front lines, you might say?
I think there's a number of things. First, I say in Nigeria, it's not the head of the snake; it's the head of Medusa with a lot of snakes coming out of it. I mean, there's a lot of bloody hands in that cookie jar. And he hit, at the head of Medusa, not just the head of the snake. I have been out there. In fact, the Sultan of Sokoto is the king and pope, effectively, for 108 million Muslims in West Africa. He's got, we can get into his background and all that, but I have called this person out directly to clarify. Is he against the Christian genocide, or is he complicit? Because he's never spoken against it. He's never helped the victims. And I've called him out publicly, and he's responded. This guy's name checked me, which is sort of crazy. Probably have a fatwa against me, but to drop a bomb in his backyard, where ISIS and Al Qaeda have headquartered, it signals that we know what's up. We know that this isn't just farmer herder clash. This isn't just tribal. We're going for the masterminds, and that is shock and awe. I mean, that is letting them know we know what's going on. We know where the real heart of this is, and it's a message to the nation and the world that we're not messing around. I think it's just a start, but yeah, it's got to scare the crap out of those terrorists there, and the government. We know what's going on. We're not messing around.
Very, very interesting. So have you heard back from any of your contacts in Nigeria after this bombing?
Oh yeah. It is the biggest, greatest thing they've ever seen in their lives, and they're very thankful. In fact, somebody produced a music video thanking Donald Trump. I watched it today. Very beautiful.
That's so fantastic.
So there's a lot. It's interesting, the narrative war and how the politics plays out. The first reports that came out, it's so crazy to think that people actually go out and do this. Somebody went out and filmed some ashes in an open field and said, "Oh, this is where the bombing was," and they were very elaborate, looked like a news story and all that, but totally fake, and so little by little, the truth has come out, and from on the ground sources. I mean, from cell phone videos and such. That no, this was a very, very precise and very effective bombing. So that's come out, and that's coming from my Nigerian sources, but. The really interesting thing here, and I'm really beginning to be impressed with Trump's chess playing. I mean, you hear people saying that he's a master chess player, but golly, the messaging around this has been like a hand grenade too. So the Nigerian government has tried to maintain this illusion of helping, an illusion of caring. It's important to them because they try to be a global player in economics and all that. And so for political purposes on the global stage and to maintain their economy, they have to act like they're cooperating with the United States. I really don't believe they have been. I don't think anybody that knows believes they really would help, but they act like it.
Yeah.
And so Trump came out with his announcement. We just bombed these folks. And he said, been working with the Nigerian government, and they came out, oh, yes, we were happy to work with the United States. But in Trump's announcement, he also said to end this Christian genocide. The government denies it. The other thing, the day before, you may not have noticed, on Christmas Eve, Benjamin Netanyahu, for the first time commenting on this, came out and issued a statement that, we stand with the Christians in Nigeria, and the Christian genocide needs to end. That was one day before the bombing.
Yeah.
So what all that did was put the government there in a pickle, that we have to say we supported this, but at the same time, it means we're stopping the Christian genocide, which we deny. It means we're working with Israel, which is anathema to our Muslim base. And now you're seeing, and it's working, you're seeing the northern clerics attack the government, saying, you don't work with Israel, you don't work with America. So he lobbed a great stink bomb right into the Nigerian president's office. And I'm loving every minute of it, to watch this guy try to tap dance.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Well, that is some great strategy. What are you hearing politically here in the United States? How are people taking this? And have you heard anybody say, what about the persecution of Christians in this country as well?
Absolutely, yeah. In fact, I'm writing a book right now. I finally felt God tell me. I was working on a column and it kept growing and growing, but it's called Epicenter, the strategic importance of Nigeria. And what I've found is in chaos theory, there's the strange attractor where everything looks chaotic until you get to the right point, and then it all becomes clear. And Nigeria is sort of that. When you can stand in Nigeria and see it from there, so many things become clear. And one of those is the narrative war that we're seeing here in the United States. And it has a number of facets. And in the big picture, if you really want to get deep, it seems like it's Israel versus Qatar as the real, the real opponents in this global narrative war. And you're seeing that play out where different influencers here, important, trusted influencers are suddenly all of a sudden in the tank with radical Islam.
Yeah.
Tucker Carlson has, and I don't say this lightly, I've been a fan of his since the bow tie days. He has sold his soul.
Yeah, I agree. And I think that's demonstrably true. Of course, a lot of us have appreciated Tucker Carlson, during the COVID tyranny. He really stood up for people. I know many people who went on the show, but it does seem, and he seems open about taking money from Qatar.
Yeah.
What do you make of that? Maybe you could unpack that a little bit.
So this narrative war, and you've seen that a lot of. I just saw somebody forwarded me a column that was in Town Hall, online, and a known writer who I read his column, and it was verbatim the talking points from the Nigerian president and the northern imams. I've been in a room with them as they gave me their talking points. I've been to the source, and this guy in a conservative, supposedly publication, just spewing this propaganda that there's no Christian genocide, it's global warming, and it's resource allocation, and it's not religious, and just garbage. And I did a little research. This writer, in his bio on his website, says he works for, he's a staff writer for a PR firm, the Amsterdam Group. I look up the Amsterdam Group. The principal, Sam Amsterdam, lists in his clients the president of Nigeria. So this guy who works for this PR firm that works for the president of Nigeria wrote a supposedly objective journalistic column in Town Hall, and it's nothing but Nigerian propaganda. It's crazy. And Tucker Carlson, just a few months back, not even that, 6 weeks ago maybe, had a guest on, and we'll just talk about the Nigerian, the Nigerian genocide hoax, basically. And he presented his guest, a guy named Robert Amsterdam, different from that PR firm, by the way. But Robert Amsterdam, he presented him as a great human rights attorney. And when I scratched the surface of that, calling that guy a human rights attorney is like calling Johnny Cochran attorney. This guy, O.J. Simpson's defense attorney. This guy is a human rights attorney in the extent that he's a defense attorney for dictators. He has worked for Robert Mugabe, one of the dirtiest and bloodiest African dictators in our lifetime.
Wow.
He recently has had Maduro in Venezuela as a client very recently. He was actually called out in Congress for that. And he had as a client a former governor, Nasir El-Rufai, who is known as the Butcher of Kaduna. He is one of the bloodiest politicians there in terms of the Christian genocide. I mean, he's got blood on his hands. And this guy, Robert Amsterdam, was his defense attorney. And Tucker Carlson has him on as his human rights attorney, an expert in Nigeria. And just scoffs. Tucker's, of course, everybody knows that's just a distraction from the real issue, which is the persecution in Ukraine. And these people I know who have had their families have been slaughtered, their homes and churches burned, and they're struggling to survive. But that's just a distraction from the real persecution in Ukraine. That was Tucker Carlson not asking the question, but scoffing that everybody knows that.
Well, I was talking with
demonic. That's demonic.
I was talking with Michael Lauber today, ex-American News, and we were discussing Israel a little bit. He does a run through the news. And I made the point that certainly the state of Israel is not above scrutiny, and we have to know where our money's going, lobbyists, all the rest. Any corruption, any nation is going to have some corruption. But people conflate that with basically carrying water for the radical Islamist agenda to delegitimize Israel in the U.S.'s mind and put themselves in that place. Israel, beyond all other considerations, I think Israel is important strategically to the U.S. and as Iran is in tumult right now and threatening to go to war with the United States, I think strategically important. So, all of this I know plays into what's happening in Nigeria, what's happening in Somalia, across the Islamic world. So I wonder, when are more people, as some are, and I'm glad to see it, but when are more people going to call out the likes of Tucker Carlson and Candace Owen for fronting that narrative?
It's crazy. And Israel doesn't make it any easier to defend them.
Well, I like to say, if you look back at the Bible, Israel was always a pain in the butt, and their hands aren't clean. It shouldn't be a surprise that some of that goes on. But
Yeah.
please continue.
Well, yeah, no, I'm a Christian. I'm a biblical scholar. I've written books, Bible theology. I've literally laid down my life for the scripture and for the Bible. I don't see anywhere in there that we have the Christian obligation to support the modern nation of Israel and everything they do. I don't see it there whatsoever. And that's, I believe, just a theological hoodwink that's used for political purposes to try to, guilt or shame or legalize Christians into rah rah Israel. Everything they do is God ordained, and it's just not. It's a modern construct. And yeah, the Holy Land is there, and yeah, we supposedly worship the same God, no doubt. And the Christianity definitely has Hebrew Jewish roots, and there's a lot of commonality there that we can build on. But to try to guilt me into supporting you because you're trying to tell me God says so, I reject that, and that's what makes it hard because a lot of people see through that. But they are a great ally politically, militarily. Yeah. We're on the same side in the big picture. But gosh, they play dirty pool, and it makes it hard to support them totally. But I see them ultimately as a force for good, and certainly a strong ally that we need to maintain.
Well, I think that it's important that there's kind of two dispensations onto Christians and spiritual matters, and those who run the state, sort of the civil authorities. And I think we have to look at Israel as a government, as a nation, from that standpoint, like what's best going to serve the needs of the people. But so where do you see things going with Nigeria now? Do Christians now there have some ability to confront their oppressors and say, if you keep coming after us, we're going to cry harder and you're going to pay for it? I mean, do they feel like they have big, in a good sense, big brother watching out for them now?
I think so. They're starting to. Now you got to realize, I'm sure you've seen, although like anything from Schindler's List to The Hiding Place or Diary of Anne Frank, that regime where you open your mouth too much and you get disappeared, you get killed, you get run out of business, your family goes. Yeah. That is what Nigerian Christians have been living under for a very long time. The media too, it's been in complete alignment, completely in the tank with the radical Muslim government, and totally corrupt, and have purged, for example, the displaced, or they don't exist. That's just criminals and beggars and homeless people. It's purged from the vernacular, from the media. They don't talk about it because the government won't let them. So in that setting, yes, there's great progress. I see Nigerians starting to speak up, but I still have quite a few of them contacting me and saying somebody needs to say this, and if I say it, they'll kill me. But yeah, and the more that snowballs, it's gonna grow. I believe the strength is there. I know the strength of character is there. I believe the will, but so many are just so hopeless, and they're just so oppressed. To see them awaken, it's beautiful, but it's gonna get worse before it gets better. In the North, a lot of these groups have been saying they want to draw the U.S. into a full-fledged conflict. So, I mean, just like they did in Afghanistan, they see it as another Afghanistan on the wrong side, and so I'm glad Trump's there to deal with it because I think he'll be more surgical and he won't get us mired down. But it's going to be a big conflict, and there's a long road ahead of us.
Yeah, sure seems that way. Have you seen what can we do? So I'm sitting here in Tennessee. What can we do to help and encourage the people of Nigeria?
So, of course, pray for them. That's very important, and not just dear God, blah blah blah. I mean, we need to wage spiritual warfare. This is the epicenter. This is the front line we need to fight it there, or we'll be fighting it here.
Yeah.
And so, wage spiritual, warfare on their behalf. Pray with intention and pray with power, and let's watch God do His thing. Encouragement. So many of them are online. Even folks in these remote villages, it's amazing. They're on Facebook, and just connecting. Using the modern tools of social media to connect and encourage, to to share and like, and that means a lot to folks. And then there's frontline organizations that are doing serious work over there. That if you have some spare money, could certainly use the support. And let me tell you, I'm not going to get too far, but Nigeria has a problem with the prosperity gospel, and that's an infection that rages all throughout the church around the world. But giving money to a rich man, thinking it's going to make you get rich, is not biblical. It's foolish. But Jesus said is true religion that pleases God is taking care of widows and orphans. And it said, whatever you do for the least of these, you do for me. And the displaced generation is widows and orphans. They are Christians that are living in hellish conditions because of their faith. And they're the least of these. And I'm telling you, sow into them and to serving them, and you're doing it for Jesus. And you will be blessed.
Yeah,
not a prosperity
absolutely.
promise. It's just the reality.
Yeah, and that's so true. And it reminds me of the passage in Matthew 25 where Jesus was talking about bringing all the nations together and judging the people, and this is really the crux of Christianity. And he separates the sheep from the goats, and the righteous, pictured by the sheep, they will say to him, Lord, when did we see you hungry and feed you, or thirsty and give you drink? When did we see you a stranger and take you in, or naked and clothe you? Or when did we see you sick or in prison and come to you? Or your community is being attacked by Muslim extremists. And the king will answer and say to them, surely I say to you, inasmuch as you did it to one of the least of these, my brethren, you did it to me. And really, what this is saying here is that one of the main factors, if not the main factor you're going to be judged on, is did you stand up for the oppressed? Were you there for people in their time of need? Because Jesus considers it as if you do that for him. And it's right. The prosperity gospel is despicable. I hate to see that in a place like this where people need hope and comfort.
It's an epicenter. I mean, the book I'm writing is called Epicenter. When this was just getting started in 2014, there was a study. 8 of the 10 richest pastors on earth were in Nigeria. 8 of the 10. That's statistically, I mean, that's an epicenter. That they are the masters of this racket. And I've been digging into the depths of that. But these 8 of the 10 richest, their wealth has trended up with genocide. It's trended up with displacement. While more Christians are being killed and displaced, their wealth is going up. It's psychotic, and they do nothing about it. It's satanic. It's an infection. But we who are many form one body, and we all have different parts in it. I'd have to challenge anybody that calls themselves a Christian. If there's your one hand of a body being mangled, and you don't feel it, are you really connected to the body? And you really need to look at that, because here we have one hand being mangled, the other hand scooping all this stuff over to themselves. That's not a body. That's not the body of Christ. I don't know what it is, but that's not. We're supposed to feel it. I mean, it just, that's the way we're made.
Well, I'm just typing right now because I have an editorial schedule for Freedom Talk magazine, and I want to do an issue on something like what is a real Christian, or what is true Christianity. And I'll probably get back to you on that one, and you could submit an article anytime. I'm probably looking at June at the earliest for doing that, but I would love to do a whole issue because there are a lot of, we read about the wheat and the tares. There are a lot of counterfeits out there, and there are some who equate Christianity with, when people started talking about Christian nationalism, at first I thought, what are you talking about? But there are some who look at Christianity similar to how the Jews looked at the coming of Messiah, that he was going to come and establish power over the earth and take over the kingdoms of the world. So they look at, once we have the United States completely Christian, and it's a Christianity that's based on taking over power, and I think there's something wrong there too.
People don't understand what the kingdom is, and I think that's the fundamental heart of it. We're supposed to seek first the kingdom, and what does that mean? Well, if you look at it from a political lens, that's theocracy, and that's wrong. But Paul, when he was Saul before the road to Damascus, was not a bad guy. He was passionate. He thought he was pursuing the kingdom of God, but he defined that as the religious structure, the high church. of the day. And that is, with all of his zeal, what he was doing for God, he was killing Christians because he didn't understand the kingdom. And the kingdom, Jesus said, is peace, joy, and righteousness in the Holy Spirit. The kingdom is within you. And the kingdom is everything that belongs to the king. Or whose flag do you fly?
Mm-hmm.
And when you start to understand the nature of the kingdom and what it really is and how it grows and the leaven of the kingdom, it changes everything. It's not yes, every knee will bow, but you don't start by making people bow. You start with their heart, and then they'll want to bow because they love Jesus. It's one person at a time. It's inviting people into that fellowship with Jesus, and letting him take it from there. And that's the kingdom. And when you see it that way, it changes everything. And that's what's going to rule. That's what's when Jesus said, "Thy kingdom come." That wasn't some liturgy. He was setting the gears in motion, and that's what's going to happen.
Yeah, I think when he said, "My kingdom is not of this world," he entered, and we're just coming out of this season celebrating that he entered the world as a baby, that he wasn't illegitimate, but that impression was given to the society around him, into a poor family born into a feeding trough. That's not how we typically consider a kingdom being founded, like Alexander the Great or something, Romulus and Remus. So I still try to wrap my mind around it, because I work on behalf of a lot of people to help them with injustice. Our family was just decimated by the Biden administration because we stood up, and sometimes you just yearn for that justice, and you want your government to come and make things right. But in the meantime, how do people get through this world when that justice is denied, when they are, many afflictions, the righteous have many afflictions? How do you get through that? How do people cope with those kind of situations where they're being persecuted and held down and deprived of life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness?
I'm going to send you a song written by. I've been working on a documentary film. I've been working on it. It's been a calling, and it's been a lot harder, heavier calling than I ever expected. But by God's grace, there's a light at the end of the tunnel. We're dropping the trailer for it here this week.
Wow.
And after 6 years, that's what's kept me going back to Nigeria. That was my promise, is to tell their story. But anyway, I've been working on the soundtrack, and God has blessed us with some amazing music. One of the songs was written by an IDP, a displaced person that's had one of the most horrific journeys you can imagine. A young man up in northern Nigeria. His father was prominent in the community, educated. This young man, Enoch, had a college degree, and then all this started. His dad was hacked to death. He got separated from his mother. And lost everything. They burned his college with all the records, so he hasn't been able to prove he has a degree. And he ended up in this horrific camp in Abuja, Nukuchingoro. One of these camps the government denies exists, and they call them criminals and beggars and thieves. He got there and wrote a letter to the editor about it, and the next day he was taken out and beaten almost to death, and said, "If you ever write anything about this again, we'll kill you and your family." So he's the one that recruited Miss Anna, this teacher, to come to New Kuchingoro. They started a school. His father had been a physician, and so he's the only one that had first aid training. He delivered over 50 babies in this camp. Until the camp bosses, they're run like mob. I mean, it's crazy. There are people that say, "I'm the boss here," and they have to, any aide that comes in have to pay them a piece. They run prostitutes and drugs out of the bag. It's crazy, but they run these camps like a mob boss. They thought he was skimming or taking money for delivering these babies. It wasn't giving him any. So they said, if you deliver another baby, we'll kill you. And so he had to actually move out of camp and move his shanty somewhere else. He has a wife, and he has a small child. We've employed him for the past several years now. He works for our school, but he's our liaison to the IDP community. But you can't imagine more trauma, hardship, victimization that this young man has been through. The song he wrote, when you understand where it comes from, especially, it's called "More Than a Survivor." And it's I'm more than a survivor. I'm a warrior at heart. Through the fire, I've been torn apart, but I'm rising up. I won't be held back. I'm more than a survivor. I'm on the attack. And he's a kingdom warrior. He's a lover and a fighter, man of God. It's like Job. At the bottom of the barrel. You can't get any lower. Even his wife telling him to curse God and die. What did he plant his feet on? simple words. I know my Redeemer lives.
Well,
That's
I would
it.
love.
That's the foundation of it. That's the only way you can stand in the middle of any of it is I know my Redeemer lives.
Wow. It's such a mystery, the mystery of suffering and things that aren't the way that we would expect them to be. I'll look forward to hearing that song, and if it's not a copyright infringement or something, I'll put that at the end of this video so people can
That'd be
enjoy it.
awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, just give credit. It's for our documentary film soundtrack, trying to raise awareness of that. But so in 2019, when we stumbled, this is the start of the movie. It was a complete God thing, complete random detour. We were there on a fun speaking tour and ended up finding ourselves in this camp right in the middle of the capital city and meeting these people. And I promised Miss Hannah, this school teacher, I promised I would tell her story. And it was several months later when I was starting to piece it together that God said, "You're making a documentary film. That's the only way to tell her story. This isn't a blog post." And been back 6 times. A couple times it was level 4, do not travel, highest level red flag warning from the State Department, combat zone warning. And we went anyway. Had to have cover stories and used hidden cameras but we filmed this and just about ready to tell her story. I would have been done in a year if it was up to me, but it's taken 6. And if I was going to crank it out as a YouTube video, it'd probably be done. But I feel that these people deserve the very best that we could possibly give.
Absolutely.
And God has given us an incredible team, and I'm aiming for Academy Award. These people deserve it. The story deserves it. And so that's the trailer we're dropping. I'm all in. I've put everything I have into this to keep the schools open and to get it this far. I'm raising support and funds and investment to finish this film, but we can have it out 6 to 8 weeks since everything's been databased at a very high level. So I don't know if that's speaking to anybody out there. It could be either donation or a investment. It's all papered. It's all legit. This movie that's coming out, me and Miss Hannah too. It's big, it's important, and it's going to make a difference. And I think it's going to get a lot of attention. The music videos from the soundtrack have gone viral. A lot of people are asking for it. So it's got some good momentum. And if you feel called to help get us across the finish line, that'd be huge. That'd be huge.
If only they could divert some of the fraudulent money from the Somalian schemes to help fund your film, we could actually do something worthwhile.
Give me 1 Tomahawk missile's worth.
There you go. That'd be plenty.
I can make a much bigger impact.
Yeah. Well, hey, Mike, please share the trailer with us. We'll share it out there too. I'll keep, once that trailer's out and the film's out, I'll be happy to share it through Freedom Talk magazine as well. And we just, we're adding new audiences all the time. Emerald Robinson has about 60,000 followers on her Substack. She's going to add us to that. White Rose Resistance, Seth Gruber's organization, pro-life organization, is now sending Freedom Talk magazine out to 22,000. Frontier Coffee right here in Tennessee sends to 20,000. Of course, Mike Lindell sends to about 3 million of his.
Wow.
So
I'll be happy to share. Just this month alone, I need to check it, but since December 1st, I've gained 58,000 Facebook followers.
Fantastic.
I have 108,000 on Facebook, and I think it's 35,000 on X. So happy to share it as well.
Yeah, please do. Yeah, I mean, it's free to sign up. We have a sort of a premium version that's $5 a month or $50 a year. But really, I think Freedom Talk magazine is the journal of truth and virtue. We take a deeper dive into things, not just the news, but history, theology, basically the underpinnings of the virtue, the culture of America, and how that shapes and defines the news and who we are. So yeah, if you want to share it with them, that'd be great. The more the merrier as far as subscribers go. And we exist to be a hub to put out good messages and to help others like you who are doing good work to gain more visibility for what you're doing and understanding for what your objectives are.
I'd be happy to contribute too if you think my voice would be a blessing to you. I have a publishing background and writing,
great.
And I'd love to help. It sounds like we're in alignment.
Well, I had you trying to remember which issue it was. I had a piece about this in an issue, but let me show you the cover of the next issue. Let me see here. Let me pull it up. So this is the issue coming out for January I'm waiting on a couple more articles and going to release it next week right after the holidays. But it's basically about Americans being arrested, persecuted, jailed for their beliefs. And we want to share remarkable stories and also take on this issue to hopefully end the reality of political prisoners in the country. So I know you're working mainly in Africa, but I would love some content from you, maybe talking, what we were just talking about. How do you, in spite of circumstances, in spite of persecution, how can you be a warrior? I love that theme. And maybe that's something, if you'd like to contribute a piece for that would be of real value and benefit to people.
Yeah, I'd be honored to do so.
Great. Well, I had an advertising and branding agency, marketing agency, and used to do print proofs. So I'm familiar with publishers and print houses and all the rest of that. So
very cool. Well, sometime when we're not live streaming, we can catch up. And sounds like we have a similar background. When I was 28, I founded a broadcast television news network. I had 125 employees.
Oh, wow.
Back in the .com boom, 98, 99, 2000, thereabouts. And it was, it's been a journey. Went from there, and a few years later, ended up in full-time ministry and started a youth ministry that grew nationwide. And then God called me to Africa.
Yeah, and here you are. Well, tell us where people can find you, how we can support you, your website, and
sure. So the easiest way is, and I've set this up because the other one's a little longer URL, but mikearnold.org. My ministry, my nonprofit, has been in good graces with the IRS for 19 years as Mike Arnold Ministries. mikearnold.org. From there, you can link to the schools in Africa, Africa Rise. You can link to the information about the documentary film. You can see some of my books. mikearnold.org.
Awesome. And here's the page that we did. Let me turn off this banner here so you can see it better. Here's the page we did for you, actually in the November Freedom Talk. And it's great because, and it's a small piece this time, but you can also click on our previous interview where we had you on Freedom Talk. So, we call it a magazine, but it's really an interactive platform, kind of a hub for information. So people can go there and read a little preface on what you're doing. There's mikearnold.org, on exit Mike Arnold Truth, and then people can click right on the video and watch it. And this is the cover of that issue. It was the November issue.
I love it. You do a great job. I can see where you have the marketing background. You're a propagandist like me.
Yeah. I do some design and other things, but I'm mainly known as a writer and a branding strategist, and people call me an advertising genius for the ability to get people's attention.
You're a propagandist, and that's a good thing.
That wraps it all into one. Yep.
Yeah, but it's you're propagating a message and trying to get it to grow. That's where the word comes from. You're a gardener of truth.
Yeah.
There are propagandists of lies and spin, but you're a propagandist of the truth. You're trying to water it and help it grow.
Well, fantastic.
Embrace it. That's a good thing. It's When you realize you're a propagandist, it makes life easier. That's my gift. I'm a propagandist. I'm a kingdom propagandist.
Love it. Well, let's get back in touch offline real soon. I have some other things to talk with you about. And, if you'd like to be in the January issue, I'd need something this week, probably by Friday, because we'll probably start sending it out early next week.
Do me a favor, just text me or email me the specs, what you need from me, and
okay.
I'm a pretty prolific and fast writer.
I'm the same.
And I've got tools, man. I've as an old timer, you know what I mean. The difference between using technology and technology using you. The last book I wrote actually hit #1 on Amazon. It's about AI. It's making AI work for you. And how to wrangle it and take control of it and get the most out of it. If you don't know how to do that, it'll run all over you and make you look like a fool. But I've embraced AI and I write fast.
Me too. It makes me faster, and I use it as sort of like an assistant. But I can almost always tell when somebody just plugs some information in and then has AI write an article for them, and it's just not the same.
No. But you know what I mean. It's a tool. It's just sped me up because I've always done. It just helps me articulate things. Yeah.
Well, thank you for your time, and we'll talk soon. And I'm sending those specs right now, so let me know if you have any questions.
Thank you, brother. God bless you.
You too. Likewise. Bye-bye.
thought I'd fall apart, lose my way, but I found strength in the break of day. You said I'd never make it, never survive, but I'm standing tall. I'm alive. I am more than survivor.
Survivor, survivor.
I'm a warrior at heart.
Warrior, warrior.
Through the fire, I've been torn apart, but I'm rising up. I won't be held back. I'm more than survivor. I'm on the attack. I won't let the darkness decide my fate. I'll rise above, I'll recreate a new tomorrow, a brighter day where my voice is heard. I won't fade away. I am more than survivor.
Survivor, survivor.
I'm a warrior at heart.
Warrior, warrior.
Through the fire, I've been torn apart, but I'm rising up. I won't be held back. I'm more than survivor. I'm on the attack. I'll use my scars to heal, help others rise. I found my voice, I opened my eyes to a world of hope, possibilities bright. I'm more than survivor, I'm shining light. I am more than survivor, more than survivor. Warrior at heart.
Through the fire,
I've been torn apart, but I'm rising up. I won't be held back. I'm more than survivor. I'm on the attack.
more than survivor. More than survivor. More than survivor. Shining brighter. More than survivor.
I'm on the attack.
America's founders warned that without knowledge and virtue, no nation can remain free. Yet through the steady infiltration of Marxist ideology, we have been stripped of both, and we are no longer a moral and educated people. To save America, we must spark nothing less than a national renaissance. That's why you need Freedom Talk magazine, the journal of truth and virtue. We cultivate enlightened thinking and principled living, offering unique insights into the issues and remarkable people defining our world. Sign up today for your free subscription to Freedom Talk magazine and join the new American Renaissance.